Hi friends, it's Amalia. This is a 10-minute movement practice you can do using a chair. It's an anti-productivity practice. It's actually a practice for the purpose of helping us tune in and really sense from the body's perspective what it is that we need next. So I know when I've been sitting and working at my computer for a long time, which is what I was just doing before this, or I've been focused on one thing for a long stretch of time, when I start to feel tired, when I start to feel distracted, when I start to feel grumpy or stiff or whatever signals I'm getting from my body that move me out of the space of the work I've been doing, I like to look at those as an invitation into getting centered in my body and trying to pay attention to some of the cues that my body might be sending in order to decide what will actually nourish me next. And it might be that after a movement break and some freshly oxygenated blood supply to your brain, you want to dive right back into the project that you were working on or some other creative project. You might discover that you're hungry and it's time for a non-yoga kind of snack, or that you're ready to lie down and close your eyes for a few minutes. So there isn't a right way to follow up this practice, but I hope that having these few moments together does give you a little on-ramp into noticing, aside from what you might produce or what kind of tangible like goods might come as a result of this practice, just what do you notice about how you feel when you take some time to check in with yourself and your body? Those things can be kind of amorphous questions, and so you don't need to feel like you have the answer or that the answers come through in words. Let's just listen together and be curious about what arises. So sit yourself comfortably. I'm sitting in a folding chair. I'm scooted toward the front edge of my chair just so I have the most space around me to move. And I'm going to start by taking a little bit of a deeper breath and closing my eyes. And you're welcome to do that too if it feels comfortable. Yoga is about, or one of the many things that yoga is about, is how we can learn to identify with spirit and less with actual physical body and less with the kind of fruits of our labors. We're going to need to detach at some point in our lives from the identities that we've held and what we've been able to do or be or create. And so what is left underneath that is what we might be exploring when we start to notice, say, the inhale and the exhale. Right? There's something in you and animating you that is more than your labels or your titles or your output. If it helps you to feel in tune with your body, please bring your hands to chest or belly or anywhere else that you'd like to feel some touch. You can invite your upper palate, the roof of your mouth, to lift up toward the ceiling a little bit. And whatever part of you is in contact with the chair or the floor, inviting those parts to be heavy. If it helps to visualize taking off a mask, taking off a suit, taking off kind of the persona or the projection of who we need to be for the outside world, you can imagine that. You can imagine getting into your comfiest and coziest sweats or curling into a blanket. Or maybe you imagine yourself into an outside space that's particularly nourishing for you. And let's take a breath here in together through your nose if that's available. And then a sigh out through your mouth. And we're going to do that twice more, allowing the experience that you're having just to be the way it is for 2 more breaths. If you're using imagination to conjure an outside setting, letting it become really rich and detailed with smells and sounds. If you imagine settling into your favorite cozy blanket, how does the texture of that blanket feel against your skin? And when you complete your next exhale, bring your hands together at your heart. And then releasing your head towards your hands and your heart. A little gesture of gratitude. You've already made the wise effort of coming into your practice for a few minutes and paying attention here. So that is worth celebrating. And release your hands. If they were closed, you can open your eyes when you're ready. And we're going to do this. We're going to inhale and lengthen up tall in our seat. And then exhale, bring the right knee into the chest and let your head curl towards your knee any amount. When we set that foot down, you could open your arms out wide, really stretching across the inner arms, out through fingers. And then exhale, let's draw the left knee up and in. And we'll just repeat that a couple times, side to side. And the amount of movement here is totally up to you. If your foot doesn't want to leave the floor or isn't able to leave the floor, you can use the upper body to curl toward the leg. You could just lift the heel of the foot. Lots of ways to adapt. If you have the ability to bring the thigh into the body, maybe you're using the hands to help squeeze a little bit, even compressing the leg against the belly. Let's call that our last one. I'll bring hands back down onto my legs, and then I'm going to widen my stance. Again, I'm scooted toward the forward edge of my chair, and now I'm going to imagine my rib cage circling like it's inside a big hula hoop. And I'm trying to touch all the parts of this sphere with my ribs, with the back of my chest, with the sides of my ribs, maybe with my shoulders, with my elbows, just whatever parts of my body I can get involved in this circle. I'm going to go in the other direction. And then when I feel done with that, I'm going to work some shoulder rotation. So I'm going to spin my left fingers in. I'm going to draw my left shoulder forward as I bend that left elbow, and I'm going to look off to the right. And then I'll come back through center, and this time I'll spin my right fingers in, roll my right shoulder in, bending into that elbow, and looking to the left. I'm going to trade sides like this a few times. You can move as slow as you want to go. You can speed it up. You can let your eyes travel around the room. Maybe you get to take in something that makes you smile. Or you could go back to your imagined landscape, feeling at home in that place of comfort. And then when we're done, a couple wiggles side to side like that. Let's come back into center together, and I'm going to bring my feet in front of my hips. I'm going to inhale and reach my arms forward, and on the exhale, I'm going to lean forward like I was trying to reach to the camera with my fingertips. Now here's where I can start to build some strength in the legs. I might lean forward so much and press into my feet so much that maybe my sitting bones lift up off the chair. You could hover right here, or you could inhale, straighten your legs, sweep your arms out wide. And then let's exhale, come back to hovering over the seat if you can. And if you notice that the hover doesn't happen and you plop into the seat, that's okay. We'll do that a couple times more. Inhaling, maybe the hips lift, maybe they don't. And exhaling to sit back down. While you continue on with whatever version of that practice you're doing, just remind yourself that this yoga is for you and where your body is. So it doesn't need to be about where you wish it was or where it used to be, but what's happening right now. And are there places to enjoy that? Or just to be curious about that. It can be neutral. If you notice emotions come up and they aren't neutral, that's okay too. We're bodies that feel. All right, sitting back down into your chair. Take a minute to let your breathing settle. Maybe circle out your shoulders if that feels good. Let's bring the backs of our hands together. And make a circle with the wrists. And the other way. Right, and why shouldn't this be as interesting as anything else that you've got going on? And then we're going to bring the pinkies together and the thumbs away. So my inner arms are facing me and my outer arms are facing you. And I'm going to squeeze my forearms together gently and inhale, lift my arms up like I was sliding this outer part of my arm up a wall. And then I'm going to exhale and lower down. And I'll do that just a few times. Moving the shoulder blades up and down on my back. Moving with breath. Let's do one more. And if you're noticing that this is quite fatiguing, that's normal. I also feel that if I really squeeze my arms as I lift, I'll start to get a little shaky. So I'm going to call that good. Let it go. Let's take a little bit of a side bend. You could hold on to the seat or the side leg of a chair with your left hand. Reach your right arm up. And then over the ear it goes. And I'm all for some invention in your yoga practice, some ad-libbing. There's a word I'm looking for that I can't think of. But we'll just call it freestyle yoga here. If you're in your side bend and you want to hold still, hold still. If you're in your side bend and you want to move, explore some movement in that top arm or any other part of your body. And can you again invite your hips, your feet to be nice and solid and heavy on the chair, on the ground, and then the upper part of your body, like your rib cage, your shoulder, your elbow, even your fingers to extend up and out. Let's release, bringing that right arm all the way down. Take a breath to feel side to side. Sometimes there are tingles or changes in temperature. And then I'm going to hold on to the side of my chair with my right hand, reach my left arm up, and lean over to the right. And what might your fingers say is the purpose of you practicing, right? If this wasn't to try and achieve some specific state, if this wasn't to try and be more productive or get something done or accomplished or achieved, what if it was just for itself? How would you want to take care of your neck, your face, your arms, your chest in this shape? How might you want to move or not move? There's no right way to do it. There's no wrong way to do it. You can imagine the breath as the driver and your body's just joyriding along. When you feel good and ready, release that left arm all the way down. Nice. And we're going to finish with one movement that includes the legs. So if you have a block, a book, a similar object, you may like to use that for support. It's not required, just optional. I'm going to turn myself to the side of the chair. I'm going to leave this right foot in front and I'm going to wiggle walk this left foot back. And in fact, because I know I have long legs, let's scoot that block a little further back and wiggle my foot a little further back. So I've got my knee resting on the support of that block. You do not have to have your knee resting on anything. It might be lifted. You could spin that heel down so your pelvis faces a little more off the diagonal edge of your chair. What we're mainly looking for here is that one leg is facing the side and one leg is reaching across and back. And if that's interesting, you just enjoy that you are here already. And if you'd like to add on, you can use one hand to hold onto the chair for support and balance and reach the other arm up into the sky. And I like to imagine this whole area of the left upper thigh, right up into my hip flexor, right even up into my belly and toward my low ribs. I like to imagine a zipper, and like I'm drawing that zipper up the front of the thigh, up through the ribs, extending that lift and reach all the way out of my fingertips and the crown of my head. Let's take a breath here together. And one more. And then you can release your arm if you had that lifted, and using the chair for support, wiggle yourself back to center. Great, let's try it on the other side. Are you ready? So I'm going to swivel my seat in the chair. I'm going to leave this left knee forward. I'm going to slide my block back and then squinch my, technical term, squinch my right foot back until I've got a support for my back knee on the block and my toes tucked under. And then I'm going to use this left hand to hold on to the chair so I don't feel too wobbly. I do like this reach up and out through the right arm. You might find that the right arm would like to do something different. You can do it differently side to side. Sometimes planting a little more firmly into this left foot can help you feel that sense of lift, of reaching and rising up toward the ceiling. Let's imagine the zipper this time on the front of the right thigh. So as though you could draw a zipper up, and it comes right up to the pelvis, right up to the belly, right up into the ribs, all the way up and out through fingers. Fill your body with breath and let it go. And we'll do that one more time. Fill your body up with breath and let it go. And arm can come down, and let's climb back into the center of the chair. If you'd like to close this practice with a forward fold, you might bring a support up onto your lap and then fold your hands and rest your head on top of your arms. Just bringing your senses inward. You could close your eyes if that feels safe and comfortable. Let your shoulders slump, let your back round. Let the weight of your body drop into the chair and the floor. Good. A few more moments, just exactly the way that you are, where you are right now. And you could always stay here longer if it's feeling good and you have the time. And if you're ready to wrap up, just climb back up off the supportive hands or blocks. You can bring your hands back onto your body and feel your body temperature or the texture of your clothing. You can notice how your body moves as you breathe, or focusing on the physical sensations aren't feeling like a soothing place to be. Use your imagination, or take your eyes and see something around you, reminding yourself that you are not isolated in the space of your body, but part of this bigger world. And for whatever it is that you're finding or connecting with at the end of your practice, bring your hands together at your heart in gratitude just for taking the time to check in. Such a small and yet such a big thing to do. And I appreciate you being here today and sharing your practice. And see you next time.